Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Chrono here, and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to talk about circuits. Circuits are another avenue of power that I feel like some people really don't fully understand. And you're going to find that it's very similar to some other systems you might have been used to if you are used to playing gachas. But before we jump into that, if you're new here, as always, I'm Chrono. We have recently hit our goal of 10k subscribers, and I could not be happier. Still haven't come up with a good new intro, so it's going to be awkward as hell, but we are working towards that new goal of 15k. I'd appreciate if you guys were to join us and subscribe to the channel. Toss a like on the video because it helps out for the algorithm as always. And let me know if there's anything that I missed in this video that you might do differently that could be helpful or beneficial to someone in the comments below. Either way, let's go ahead and get started with this video. So, circuits. How would I describe them? They're basically like gear that you would have in either Genshin, Wuthering Waves, Zenless Zone Zero. It's basically the artifact system from all of those different games. And when I say it's basically, I mean it's almost one for one exactly the same, and how it actually works and how you really should be thinking about using it. TLDR, for those of you who are going through your leveling process and understanding what you should be doing, you're not leveling up any of these circuits until you've reached epic circuits. You don't need to worry about anything else. Just slot in the highest tier of whatever circuit you happen to have and get rid of the rest. You're not really worried about anything else until you reach this epic circuit. And then at that point, you can start maybe looking into upgrading circuits after you've, comfortable in other things you've done, right? This is one of those things you can start investing a bit of money into, at least to start out your process. So how do circuits work? What are they? What do they do? So you can slot them in. Circuits slot into gear slots, not actually the gear itself. So if I were to replace like my helmet, I'd still have this circuit here in this slot in the helmet slot. So what circuits have are two main things. They have a main attribute and they have a sub attribute. The main attribute, always the same. As you upgrade it, always gets the same upgrade. So if I have 5 different epic time circuits that are for the head slot that are crit damage, there will always be 8% every single time. There's no difference here. Where you're gonna find your RNG in is in the sub attributes. You'll find that if you look at any other, let's say for example this crit rate one, you can see the sub attributes are locked. They unlock as you level that piece of gear. These can be any attribute. You can roll just about any attribute that you have, and there are a lot of attributes. As you can see here, you've got all, I mean, you can't roll nullification obviously, but P attack, M attack, P defense, M defense, crit rate, crit damage, movement speed, attack speed, cooldown rates, any of the elemental enhancements, so on and so forth. So like there's a lot of things that you can roll when you're looking at things like circuits. So first off, I want to explain a few things when it comes to choosing your circuits. Right side circuits always are attack. This is just attack. This is going to be attack. The main slot's always attack. So it's pretty easy for the weapon and the accessories. The left side, so the helmet, the chest piece, the gloves, the pants, and the boots are a little different. The chest piece and the pants, always HP on main stat. Again, very simple, very straightforward. The helmet, the gloves, and the boots can either be crit rate, crit damage, or I believe attack speed and cooldown. Your helmet, your gloves, and your pants can have one of those. The seal, as well as the talisman, can either have basic attack damage, can have seal damage, or can have elemental damage. Now, what should you be using? And that depends on your class. Elemental damage is kind of king for the most part. You're going to be going with whatever the most elemental damage you have in a lot of situations. So you're probably going to have one of these be elemental damage in most situations. But what you really care about is getting offensive stats on your circuits. Because these circuits can roll just about anything, it's pretty RNG heavy to get what you want on your circuits. As you can see here, this HP circuit rolled P attack, which is nice, physical attack. I rolled M defense, P crit, and P crit damage. So I got crit rate and crit damage, which is pretty solid. Physical crit rate and then crit damage. Love to see those two things. But there's something else you probably notice here. The stats are a little bit wonky here. So whenever you upgrade these, well, yes, getting to 2, 4, 6, and 8 does unlock a stat. Continuing to level actually invests in the stat. Exactly like Genshin, Wuthering Waves, and all those other gachas that exist. So just because I happen to get a piece of gear that has physical attack, crit rate, and crit damage does not mean that this piece of gear is going to always be the same if I were to roll another one. Let's show an example. So let's take this piece of gear here. So we'll take this netherlight circuit and I'll level it up. You can see we have base HP at a plus 100 and we have unlocks at level 2, 4, 6, and 8. So if I click quick select, which is going to use these items here to level up, it'll level up by 1, 2, 3, and I'll just keep going all the way to 8. This is actually what I recommend for most people who are actually leveling these up. Level these to 8, see what they roll. This one I got cryo enhancement, crit damage, intelligence, and strength. Well, for me, as a Zerker, this has 2 offensive stats on it. I have strength and I have crit damage. Cryo enhancement, not really gonna be useful for me. As a Zerker, I want to stack pyro, not cryo. And intelligence doesn't really help me out either. Now, I'm going to continue to level this only to show you how this actually works. Ideally, I would just stop and I would move on to another piece of gear because I want to get as many offensive stats as I can. If I were to get something like cooldown maybe and attack speed, while that's not beneficial in a large sense to Zerker, it still does help out my damage. Intelligence and cryo are doing nothing for me. So because there are so many different offensive stats, to start things off, we're just focused on getting offensive stats. Not getting perfect offensive stats, just getting offensive stats to begin with. Now, I'm gonna show you what happens when you level past level 8. So we're gonna go up to level 11 and hit upgrade. Now, as you can see, my base went up, which is the base HP, which is this is normal, but I also hit crit damage. So one of my rolls hit crit damage, and that's gonna continue. I go to 12, choose one to hit again, hit crit damage a second time. Pretty dope, right? And this is RNG. This is not always going to happen, right? So my other piece I have that has 2.9% crit damage, probably because I hit crit damage most of the time on this. Could have hit M defense, which I think I actually hit crit damage like 2 or 3 times and hit M defense the rest of it because I have 40 of it. But you can see that it starts getting pretty RNG heavy. I got a 1 out of 4 shot to hit crit damage each one of those times, and there's no guarantee I'll continue to do it. So like, let's say we put 14. Oh, well, I hit strength that time. Now I've got one from 8 to 17 strength. Pretty solid, all things considered. 2 more. Oop. Now I hit intelligence. Not all that helpful for me, right? Don't really care about intelligence. Oh, 2 more. We hit crit damage again. Pretty solid. You love to see that. And then the last 2. We hit cryo enhancement. Not great, right? This is why you want all offensive stats on here, because you're basically gambling a 1 in 4. While yes, I would love to see crit rate, crit damage, strength, and probably base HP or physique, it's not something that you're always going to be able to get consistently. So you have to kind of parse out first and foremost, getting your offensive stats, get as much offensive stats as you can to start with, and get your circuits leveled to 20. Start out with 8, see what you've got. Maybe you decide that, you know what, I'm going to try to gamble. I got 2 really good stats. Let's say I got crit rate, crit damage, and I got strength, right? That's 3 offensive stats. Those are really, really good. And the last one is a dud. Well, maybe I want to gamble and see if I hit those 3 and not that last one. That's a valid option. You can definitely go and do that. That's totally up to you. Also notice that rolls are not made equal. So you can low roll and you can high roll. I hit the same number of rolls in both of these. As you can see, this is 2.9. This is 2.8. Not going to be equal. So there's some pretty heavy layers of RNG to this. This is why I say just get offensive stats and then roll them up to 20. Now, if you are far, far ahead and you've already done this and you're at the point where you're trying to optimize your gear, now you're going to start looking for specific stats. You're going to start looking for the exact stats you specifically want. So like that crit rate, crit damage, that attack, and like maybe, I don't know, pyro attack for me. Like I will crit rate, crit damage, strength and pyro, or crit rate, crit damage, pyro and physique or something like that, right? Like the really important stats for me to get as a Zerker, I'll look for those specifically. And then once I get a piece like that, then I'll level it up. And then after I have all pieces like that, I'll start looking for, you know, those same pieces and then level them up and then try to specifically hit certain substats whenever I level them up, right? It's going to be a process that you go about where it's not going to be perfect to begin with. You might get lucky and it might be, but it's going to take a while for you to get exactly what it is that you were looking for. And that's circuits. That's going to continue pretty much indefinitely. This is something you can optimize for quite some time. And I recommend at the very least, before you look at something like enhancement, get your circuits at least level 20'd that have some offensive stats on them to begin with, because they are going to be a good chunk of power. When players ask me like, hey, you know, you have plus 12 gear across the board. How do you have, you know, all of the stats you currently have, plus, you know, you're rocking 4,400 power at the moment? Like, how is that even possible? Well, that's a good part in like not just focusing on my enhancements, but the other things that have to do with my character. Things like insignias, things like circuits that make a pretty big impact on your character. They're going to help out with your overall power. And that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How have your circuit rolls been? Are you getting super amazing luck? Are you absolutely getting the shaft like I have been quite a bit recently? Either way, like if you enjoyed the video, guys, subscribe if you want to keep up with more. As always, thank you to the channel members. You guys are fantastic and I appreciate every single one of you. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, my friends. Peace out.